call the roll.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Gooch.
Here.
Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Here.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Commissioner Peak.
Here.
Chairman Carr.
Here.
Thank
Yeah, big yay for Commissioner Boyd joining us. I know it was an effort, but we appreciate the effort. We really do.
It's all my wife.
Yes, thank you. And Anthony, while you weren't missing, you still had surgery and you were literally on your back. But how so? I assume you're doing much better, right?
It's a lot better.
Fantastic.
Not having the spasms.
Really?
Now.
Wow, that is fantastic. Amen.
It was about 20 an hour. So big difference.
Well, that's wonderful. So how long are you going to have the cane?
I'm hoping to get rid of it in a week or less.
That is a Christmas present. Absolutely outstanding. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being here and sticking it out. I know it was tough, but we appreciate you being here and your service to the county. Do we have anybody? Oh, excuse me. We want to move to approval of minutes. Mr. Vice Chair, you had an opportunity to review the minutes of the previous meeting.
I have, and I found them to be appropriate and move for their approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have multiple seconds. All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes stand approved. Anybody for public comments?
No, sir.
Okay, excellent. All right. And we have two things that we're reviewing that from the previous meeting that are under advisement. The first is an RFP from the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. Steve, welcome aboard.
Thank you. We requested a bid for a metal building, 30 by 30 by 16 building. Only one bid was turned in from Summertown Metals. I've talked to Mr. Henshaw about his bid.
Who is Mr. Henshaw?
He's the manager that gave us the bid.
Thank you.
He had made a mistake with sales tax on our quote. He's taken that off, so the bid would come down to $89,851.22.
Give us that number again.
$89,851.22.
That is without the tax, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I talked to them about some of the price because it's a little bit higher, but they put heavier metal on this building and more support inside because they've got metal inside that they won't finish out the inside. And it's 12-inch installation, but we'd like to go with this company to build our building.
Okay.
Did they end up putting concrete floor in there, or is it just going to be on the asphalt?
They would use asphalt, yes, sir.
Okay. I had a building built by these same people.
Summertime?
Right back in the summer, and the difference there, the main difference we saw was the gauge of the metal. And then he's got a double metal wall and a little more insulation.
So when you say the gauge, you're talking about the roof and the siding?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's heavier gauge.
Does that make it more weather resistant?
Yes, yes, yes.
Is this in the budget?
Yes, sir.
Motion to accept the bid.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Matt, are you raising your hand for discussion? You just got your hand up. If there is no objection, Carla, call the roll.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch.
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips.
Aye.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd.
Yes.
Commissioner Peak.
Yes.
Chairman Carr.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry
Steve.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
The second issue under advisement, on number 5, is probation recovery court. Y'all come on up in here. I understand you have a little spreadsheet for us.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do I have a copy of the spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, do we have enough?
I got 5.
Okay, well, I will.
There's some more. I printed it out a little bit bigger.
I did too.
So, you know,
Yeah, we're good. Good, Michelle. Tell us what we're looking at and why we're looking at it. Or whoever.
Kelly do that because she.
Kelly, you're going to do this?
So we had 3 bids, or 3.
Kelly, if you don't mind,
Sorry.
for the committee
Yes.
and for our viewing audience, if you'll introduce yourself, please, that would be appropriate.
Kelly Haley, I'm the Director of Probation.
Thank you.
So we had 3 bids that came back for our RFP for drug screening that Probation and Recovery Services use. You can see the 3 bids listed there. The first 2 pages of that, or maybe the first page, I don't know how small your spreadsheet is printed, list the 3 companies and just gives a little bit like a summary of the cost, what kind of collections they do, some notes on there, and then the very last sheet is a price list comparison for the 3 companies for each specific drug that they could test for. Or maybe the front sheet of the ones that Ms. Carla handed out. So myself, Lachelle, and Mr. Hennessy have reviewed these. This is my first time as part of an RFP, so I'm not sure what all you guys need us to.
So, let me help you out here a
Okay.
little bit. So what I think, and I'm not speaking for the committee, but in part, we're trying to understand the process of evaluation, your selection process, and then what your recommendation is to the committee. So, example, I know that in a similar case, when Michael Gregory paused, and they're buying pharmaceuticals, he is buying from,
Certain ones for
certain ones for certain things, and we're wanting to know, at least I'm wanting to know, are you using that same methodology? Or are you going to get everything from one vendor? Or do you have to do it that way? Tell us how you want to purchase this so that the county is getting the best possible price and service for what we're purchasing.
Okay, I'll go ahead, and then Lachelle, feel free to step in or correct me. So of the 3 bids, the top one that's listed there, Thermo Fisher, they do not provide on-site collection that we currently have. Theirs would all be instant screens in a lab, in a instant testing cup. If we needed to send them to the lab, we would have to send them off individually.
That our case managers and staff have to collect.
The next 2, AverHealth and Cordant Health Solutions, are both kind of a similar nature. They would employ their own staff in their own facility, their own business, self-contained business location. All of our clients for both departments would go there for drug screening. All of those drug screens would be sent to the lab, and then the results would be emailed.
So let me get this straight. So with AverHealth and Corinth, if you're going to do a drug screen, let's say we're going to pull a urine sample, this person, the mayor, would go and provide a urine sample at some predetermined location, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so that's with AverHealth and Corinth, right?
With AverHealth and Cordant, and on the very last
Cordant, I'm sorry.
section where it compares, you'll note AverHealth is the company that we currently use and have since 2021. January of 2021 is when that contract started, I believe.
Now, tell me about
Okay.
how Thermo Fisher, then, how you collect the sample for Thermo Fisher again. How would that be done?
That would have to be done in our office, where one of our staff members would then collect the sample from the client, package it so that it is compliant with chain of custody, and send it off.
You were reading my mind. And how do we manage chain of custody on a sample? I mean, we would have to develop a process, would we not?
We would, yes.
Okay.
Oftentimes, they'll send us every part of the chain of custody process, so the sign off and the seal and the bag, and then we would just package it and send it through.
Okay.
Usually there's a specific company that handles the delivery or the shipping of that. It's not mail order.
Right.
It's something specific to protect chain of custody, correct?
Correct.
And that is not a part of this bid. So if we were to select Thermo Fisher, we would still have to we would have to purchase a process by which to do that. It's based on what Chairman Phillips is saying. Is that right?
It says cost of shipping is included.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think that would be a part of that.
Thermo Fisher.
Is that
Normally
a
those
saliva
kit-
test or a urine test?
Urine.
Normally those kits come with a package that you ship them in, and you just make a telephone call and they come out.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand now. Okay, thank you.
So both of the other companies would be off-site. It would be those companies' employees that would be collecting chain of custody and sending off for laboratory testing and then providing the results.
Just a quick question, just to avoid, say somebody sticking somebody else's sample in their pocket and putting that in there, is there any safeguards? Do you, like, for instance, you just say, hey, a random day you show up and, you know, do it that way so they don't really have time to prepare?
Are you meaning our clients that are going to be drug screened?
Well, I'm talking, well, yes, but I was thinking more of, you know, our drug rehab people that are having to do this.
So I can speak for probation, and then Ms. Ricks can speak for how theirs is set up. The way that ours are set up on probation is the client does not know until that morning whether or not they are submitting to a drug screen. They have to either call in, log in, or they can be sent. We can have it set up so that they receive a text every day that tells them that they are or are not scheduled. Once they go, the screens are all observed by same gender employees of the collection company, and then the chain of custody from there. It would be that way with both AverHealth and with Cordant.
That answered my questions, thank you.
You have an asterisk here that says
Yes, sir.
our current provider, AverHealth, requires or assumes that there'll be 1,500 tests per
So-
month for us to receive this
Yes, sir.
pricing.
So in their bid, AverHealth broke their prices up to, they had a certain price if there were 1,000 screens monthly between the two departments, 1,500 screens monthly per the departments, or 2,000 plus screens with both departments. I had gone back and looked, and between the two of us in 2023, we averaged 1,544 screens a month, and so far through the end of so far to date in 2024, we had averaged 1,654 per month. So I just selected their middle tier as the price to present because I feel confident that between the two of us, we will not fall below the 1,500. And their pricing was obviously a little bit more if you were at 1,000 per month, a little bit less for 1,500 per month, and then even a little bit less for 2,000 a month. But my price, or the price on the comparison, is for the 1,500 per month.
So does this mean that if we're testing for multiple ones, it's the multiple prices?
No, sir.
No. We do a standard 6-panel plus one test, and then if we needed to add any different tests, this would be the cost for the additional test.
So where's the 6-panel? Is it on here or?
It's a standard price. Did you put that in?
It's on, I believe it's going to be on the very first page of the, on the cost of the spreadsheet. So if you look down, AverHealth with auto confirm is $26.60 for the 6-panel, and then Cordant was $530 for a 6-panel, $585 for a 6-panel that included fentanyl, plus $12.10 per specimen, collection per specimen.
So it would be the, say the 530 plus the 1210.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That would all total up to 26 or 27 bucks anyway, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. It's, should be what's on there. Their standard, I think, without anything was gonna be the $29.35. And then $26.60 was the 6-panel standard for AverHealth. Okay, and we do have, Ms. Carla has let me know, I know that the Vice President of Operations for AverHealth, who we currently have a contract with and use, are here. I don't know if the committee would want to hear from them. And Ms. Letitia Alonzo, who is our area manager, is that what? And is in pretty good contact with Lachelle and I on a regular basis. I know they are here if the committee would like to hear from them or has any questions.
I'd like to
Before we
hear-
go on.
I'd like to hear from you. What do you want to do? What's your recommendation?
So,
Thank you.
Well,
And let me ask you, do you two have the same recommendation? Because if you don't, we're in a world of trouble.
and we have talked many times about it. Our recommendation would be to continue with AverHealth with this same company that we currently have. things would continue pretty much the same way that
You
they are
concur
for
with
both
Shaq?
departments.
I do, yes.
Thank you.
It would be a disruption, I think, in our processes if we were to make that change right now. As court, it would need time to set up and establish location, train staff, do a lot of different things that are already established, and I think that we're doing okay right now.
So I want to get something straight in my mind, though. When you say a 6-panel, basically you're pulling 6 off this list that you're going to test for, correct? And so you predetermine, you let AdvaHealth or Gordon know that, hey, we want to test for these 6 items. Am I saying that correct?
Yes.
And so if you said you wanted to do alcohol, amphetamines, bath salts, barbiturates, and the first 6 is just be for illustration purposes. You've got different prices though being on that panel. You got the second one is 6160. So if that we wanted to include that, that would be an additional 6160. How does that math work? I guess is what I'm asking.
So with AdvaHealth, the 2660 that's on the first page is the 6th panel that includes amphetamines, benzodiazepines, marijuana, cocaine, MDMA, opioids, PCP, alcohol or fentanyl, any of those 6.
How often do you test for those?
With recovery court, we test 2 to 3 times a week.
So what I'm saying is but those are the ones that you're testing for on a
Yes,
pretty
those
regular
are our
basis is what I'm saying.
So,
yes.
Okay.
That
Every
is what they're
time.
starting with, and then we
Okay.
can add on
Okay.
drugs
Okay,
if we
that helps.
need to.
Does everybody at least get the 6 panel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner, that's what I was asking.
I guess this is my question, so to make sure I'm hearing this correctly, who pays for these tests? Is it the county or is it the client?
The county.
Okay, so on the,
Well, with recovery.
In probation, the clients are charged for the screen. They can't pay at AdvaHealth when they go, but for the clients that are on probation with us, they've entered a guilty plea, they're on probation, these drug screens are a condition of their probation. We in turn charge them. AdvaHealth invoices us,
Right.
my department pays it, but we add that or pass that fee on to the client on probation. Recovery court is a little bit different in that respect.
Yes, our fees are built into our county budget, or with grants that we have, we'll build our drug screen fees into those.
okay, so yours is the county or grant?
Yes, our clients do pay a $50 program fee monthly, and that does cover some of the cost of those
Okay.
drug screens.
Okay, if I'm sorry. Well, on this page here, when it says the cost, if you're doing, say, $1,600 a month, I'm looking at AdvaHealth at $42,560 a month. Does that sound right?
I can tell you if I find.
Our cost sheet, did you-
I do. Yes, as soon as I find what I did with it.
So I could say for the month of December, for recovery court, we were at $27,833.
27,833?
Yes.
Probation is significantly less than that per month. We just don't, our clients do not have to take the frequency of drug screens that recovery court does. So far this fiscal year, our invoice from AdvaHealth averages $6,300 a month.
Well, based on the cost of $2,660 times 1,600, if that's averaging between the both of you. Unless I did it correctly, that's over $42,000.
That would be close because if we go back to November's budget, recovery court had about $35,000 and we had
Okay.
like $69.81 that month.
And then on court, this is based on, say, 530 plus the 1210. That's 27,800.
Their price. You can help me with
I don't know
that.
if this includes the confirmation.
It does not include the confirmation, no. That's for their 6-panel. So the price for AdvaHealth is the way that we have it set up. That includes auto confirm on positive drug screens. This sheet right here, if you look at it, for Cordon is gonna list if we had to confirm a positive screen with them. So that confirmation would be in addition to the 6-panel plus the collection fee.
Well, what would be the relevance of having a test without a confirmation? So
We would still
understand.
have to confirm them, it's just that with Corden, it's not built into the price that they gave us. AgriHealth has given us the option to auto-confirm every positive screen.
What good is
that we
it?
have.
I'm not trying to be difficult here. I'm genuinely confused now. What good is a test unless you can confirm it?
It's not admissible in court.
I guess my, say that again?
But you still don't know if they're followed your rules if you don't get the report back on whether they're positive or for the drug, right? So, I mean, that's
Right.
part of the criteria of staying in yours.
Yes.
They have to maintain sobriety. So,
I guess I would like to know the full cost. But based on
Well, I'm
the document that we have on this page,
What's our cost this year? Year to date?
Year to date, my cost, I would have to add.
Our cost, the county's cost. And does that include other departments? Do other departments use you for hiring purposes, that kind of thing?
No, sir,
For screening purposes, yeah, right.
No?
no. Not,
the cost here.
not through probation. The only ones that probation is being invoiced for are our clients on probation.
That's quite a bit of difference.
Okay, record this one.
Yeah, that by 12.
Michelle, do you know what like Sonia Stevenson uses
Yeah.
for hiring that type? Do you know who they use? Do you have any idea?
I have a new employee starting January the 6th, and I feel like I should know that because I just saw an email that had that stuff on it, but I do not, off the top of my head, remember. So if you go to this sheet right here, and I think this may help your question, if you just took the very first alcohol on there, Cordant would be the 530 plus the 1210, but to confirm it, add that confirmation cost, and it would be 2933. Whereas the 2660 for AgriHealth includes that auto confirmation, so they're not charging us an additional for the confirmation. So as far as the total cost for each substance is going to be what's listed on this sheet.
so this final column over there has the cost from Corinth.
From Cordant, if you confirmed each of these substances listed
Thank
off
you.
together.
That's what I was wanting to know. So that example, the alcohol ETG is $29.35,
For everything from Cordant.
which would include the confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And the 6 panel.
Yes, sir.
And so, Coronet, they're gonna test it, but you gotta pay a little extra to get the results.
To get the results confirmed, yes, sir.
That makes no sense to me.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Where's Commissioner Gooch been for the last 24 years? Do you know?
He's been paying attention.
Yes, he has.
So the price difference between these two is what Mr. Gooch is jumping out at us, and it looks like there's a pretty substantial cost difference between Corinth.
On the
I'm saying that.
first sheet it is if you're going by the 2660 versus the 17, but their 530 or 585 plus 1210 again does not include that confirmation. So the final confirmation price is going to be what's listed on this one.
And that's on all of the whole panels?
Yes, sir.
Everything, okay. So if you look at that, then actually the AgriHealth would be the cheaper.
Yes, sir.
Let me get this straight. Probation, when they're on probation and have to go through this process, we give them the drug screen, we get the results back. They're paying for the test, supposedly.
Yes, sir.
Supposedly. So the actual cost is really not the county's cost or the taxpayer's cost. It's coming out of their pockets for the most part, right?
Yes, sir.
So
At least as far as my clients would go.
So the up-to-date figures, financial figures, are that's what we're paying minus the cost that the client is paying? Or is that what we pay and then we get reimbursed for them?
So
I'm just trying to figure out, we do a drug test on a person who's on probation, okay? and we get the results back, who pays for that test? Do we pay for it and then we get reimbursed by them?
We are paying for it when AdverHealth sends us an invoice. My department pays that invoice.
Right.
Say, Miss Carla goes and takes a drug screen. She's not gonna pay for that drug screen when she goes to AdverHealth. She is going to be listed on the itemized invoice that they send me every month, or when we get her results, and then we go into that probationer's case and add that drug screening fee to what they owe.
Okay. These costs is what I'm trying to
They're
drive
passed
at.
through.
These costs that you've just given us per month cost, does that include us recovering that money? Or is that just the cost? They charge us $100, we charge the client $50, okay? So what's the final cost, the bottom line that you've just, is it $100? These figures, okay, somehow, some way the client's paying some of that, okay? So what's the bottom line? That's what I'm asking.
What's the bottom line with the cost to the county?
Yeah, especially if somehow somebody's paying some of that besides the county. I'm just trying to get some feel for that. What did you say December's was, the cost of December?
My invoice for December was $5,033. The month before was $69.81. So there was a
Okay, let's just say 7,000 bucks. Of that, was some of that reimbursed to the county? So are those figures accurate, or are they not accurate when it comes to what the actual cost is?
That's because her clients aren't paying for it that way. I could run a report from our software system to see exactly from November 1st through November the 30th what we collected in drug screening fees that were paid directly to our office. Our clients can only pay those fees while they're on probation with us. Once we put them on unsupervised probation and they owe any fees, we send those to the clerks and they collect them as part of their payment plan. I would have that information not with me, but as far as what was paid to our office from our active clients on probation, I could pull those numbers. I just do not have them with me tonight.
But let me see if I can root this down to a yes or no answer, okay? That's 7,000 bucks. Some of that was reimbursed to the county, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You don't know how much?
I do not know.
That'd be pretty good to know, actually. You know what the bottom line cost was, wouldn't it?
And I should have it connected to me.
Because the actual cost is not really 6,900 bucks, right?
Right.
It would make this more inexpensive to the county, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense to anybody but me? I'm not sure that you have to give those figures, but it'd be kind of nice to know. You know, if her cost and your cost was that the 6,900 bucks for last month? Was your cost?
That was just
That was
probation.
just probation. The
Okay.
reports was, it's significantly higher, it was 27,000.
Okay.
Yes. And our clients pay a $50 program fee monthly, which it's not technically just saying we're paying for drug screens, but it's broken down into all areas of what they're paying for their treatment.
So that high expense was really not exactly all what the county was paying?
No, sir. And we have grants with Recovery Court that cover parts of those drug screens as well.
And that's really good too.
Yes.
You guys have done a really good job in submitting those grants and getting those grants, so thank you for that.
Well, one other question, would it be possible to co-op with Sonia's office to get a better price depending on what she had per year? You know, you're at 16, 15, you know, I don't know how many she does.
I
Hopefully it's not as
think,
much.
and I wish Eric were here because Eric worked with Sonia on this, and I believe there was a reason, and I do wish Eric were here because he could, and I got a text into Sonia to find out what they're using over there, but there was an explanation, a plausible explanation of why they weren't using the same source. And I quite honestly, I can't tell you what that is. Commissioner, my apologies, but I do recall having that conversation with Sonia and Eric.
I believe Ms. Ricks and I, neither one were a part of this last RFP that I believe would have been done around this time in 2020. I I was in our office and overheard Miss Phillips doing bits and pieces of that, and I know that that was a discussion. I do not know the reason why, but I know, like Mayor Carr is saying, there was some reason why it wasn't done, that maybe it could be used for pre-employment screening as well.
Yeah. And I apologize to the committee, I didn't realize this question had come up, but nonetheless, I'll get you an answer.
The way that used to work, and it's been a while, but the way that used to work for pre-employment, HR could just do it in their office.
Right.
They do a saliva test, send it off through the carrier, okay, to protect chain of custody, and get the results within about 48 to 72 hours, so they could get those results back. And it was considerably less inexpensive than these, but these are so much more detailed than those were.
I do believe it was part of the RFP, and I can see it on at least one bid. They were at the agencies that submitted bids were asked if their agency had the ability to do random pool selection for employee screens, which I believe may have kind of been a carryover from the first RFP that they did. AdverHealth had submitted no to that question in their bid, and I'd have to find it on Cordance as to whether or not what they answered to that question. I have looked at all of these so much you would think I know exactly what it said. So Portage did not answer that question. They have kind of a paragraph that says, in response to questions 9A through E, these appear all to be focused on employment testing. Portage specializes in criminal justice, government, and treatment provider drug testing, and our proposal does not include employment-related testing.
Those pre-employment tests are usually an immediate feedback for specific things like cannabinoids or opioids, something like that, and no alcohol, none of those kind of things. And they're considerably more inexpensive than these are as well. So that's the reason that they don't use them. In my mind, I guess. I'm not answering for Ms. Stevenson, but past history, that's what they do. These are specific, very specific, and it looks like very costly.
Would the representatives of the company have anything to say or want to say anything?
I don't know, if the committee wants to go out of session and ask a question, I can certainly have them come forward, if that's up to the committee.
I was just wondering if they'd have any input to what we discussed.
What's the general increase in these over our last contract? Did you take a look at those? Is there
It's
like
about 3%. For AdverHealth, it's a 3% increase per year.
Okay.
So it's gone 3%.
3%?
Yes.
And I believe that would be similar to what we've done. I know whenever we first started, I think it was like 2112, and then that was like year one, and so now year one is 2660.
So 3% over a 4-year period of time from 2020 to now. Is that right?
It would.
3% per year.
Their current bid is 3% increase per year. I want to say that it was very similar to what was in, I have looked at the contract that is currently in place, but I don't know those numbers right off the top of my head, but I know that that was a clause in that contract as well for an increase in every year. I just don't know exactly what it was.
So in essence, it's about a 3% increase for next year over what we're paying this year.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't want to gloss over, Commissioner Johnson, your request. Would you like to go out of session?
Please.
Okay, can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
And we have a second. And without objection, we'll go out of session. Will the Vice President for AdverHealth come up and introduce himself? You can sit that chair down there next to Mr. Boyd, if it's okay. And again, introduce yourself, and if you don't mind, answer questions, or you can defer to your colleague.
My name is Nick Runge. I'm the National Vice President of Operations for AdverHealth. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Where's your office?
I'm based out of our laboratory in St. Louis, Missouri. I drove in this morning.
Commissioner Johnson, do you have a question?
I was wondering if you had any input I know you were listening to every word that was said, nodding or whatever, so just whatever you want to say about it.
The pre-employment thing I can't help address. The reason that there's a difference and that many laboratories like Abbott Health and Corey don't bid on pre-employment screening is, Commissioner was correct on the very beginning pieces of it. Usually it's a very small, simple cup. However, there's a lot of regulations around it from Department of Human Services and things like that. Every single one must be, again, confirmed, not for court purposes, but for validity's sake. But then also after that, any positives also have to go out to a medical review officer, which has to be a separate entity, costs significantly more because it's a medical office to review that, to ensure that the results, let's say for instance, it came back positive for opiates and it was Vicodin, they would go back to the doctor, verify it was a valid prescription, it goes to the pharmacy, verify it was fully vetted that way. So typically, also on pre-employment contracts, you also have to have 24-hour service. So in other words, if the county employee got into an accident after hours, 2 o'clock in the morning, you have to go out and send someone to do a collection there, things like that. It's significantly more expensive, so which is why typically we don't look at those. So Commissioner is correct on the very first part of it. It's the rest of it that DHHS added on the back end that significantly raised those prices. Our price is typically at a low end, $50 a test, somewhere in there. Many times local HR departments will have a village contract request or lab court.
Any other questions from the committee? Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you for the partnership for the last 4 years. Look forward to hopefully continuing it. We value this contract as a strategic partnership, not only with Rutherford County, but also like other shows have also. We serve Davidson County, Shelby County, a few others. So many of your clients actually utilize our Davidson County locations and vice versa. So it's a lot of convenience there for all the clients on both counties.
Yeah. Just make one clarification. The numbers that we were using are typically 1,500, is that right, a month?
We, between 15, 16, around 1,600 per month between
Correct.
the two departments.
What if that goes up? What if we approach 2,000?
There's a price decrease.
The price is what?
Apologize.
Increase or decrease?
Decrease.
If the price goes down, the more volume, lower the price.
It's listed in their bid, but if we
want it.
if we did 2,000 samples a month, that $2,660 goes to $2,130 per test.
Okay.
About a $5 price decrease.
Yeah. So volume helps the county, but also hurts the population. So it's a goofy thing.
It's a two-edged sword.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Without objection, we'll come back in session. Thank you, sir. Any other questions for the committee? We have a recommendation. Ms. Haley and Ms. Riggs.
AgriHealth is your recommendation to stay with those guys. You've got a lot of stuff in front of you, and I know this is the first time you've kind of gone through this. It's actually a lot of our first time to kind of go through this too. So thank you for putting up with all of our questions. It's most of them was so that we could have a better understanding too of those things. So thank you for that. I'll move that we accept the recommendation and go with AgriHealth.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? I will add that I just heard from Mr. Hennessy, HR uses Concentra. For clarification.
Thank you.
If there is no objection, we will call the roll. Mr. Carla?
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Chairman Clark?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ladies, wasn't that fun?
It was, thank you.
Thank you for your patience with the committee.
Do I need
Or
to
no,
say?
not you. You can leave. Thank you, you can leave. I forgot, it was only Lachette.
Yeah, we've got next on the, under new business, we got Recovery Court Occupational Therapy Services. We're gonna do a bid opening on that. Ms. Ricks, is it your intent to take that under advisement?
We only received one bid.
We'll only receive one, okay.
Mhm.
Well then, never mind, we may or may not. We'll see how what it looks like. You got a knife?
Bid, I do. Or the best of theirs.
Yeah.
You got a knife?
Yes, ma'am.
Butcher.
I'll let you do it. I need to talk to you now. There, I got this business.
Intimidating.
Thank you. And she is in the audience as well.
I know that driver, did a lot of business with St. Louis.
No, you can keep that one.
Long drive.
And this one is from Mind the Gap.
And Chris, who currently is doing occupational therapy services for the county?
Mind the gap.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we are currently, we currently have occupational therapy services with our, with our mental health court grant, and we wanted to, with our current grant through SAMHSA, expand those occupational therapy services to the other courts. And so Mind the Gap is our current provider, and they provide 8 hours of services with us right now. And the grant has allotted for an additional 12 hours to total 20 hours of occupational therapy services with recovery courts. So they will be there to do individual sessions, group sessions, attend staffing, and provide any sort of support and needs that our clients have to assist.
How many RFPs did we send out, Michelle? I'm always a little bit worried we only received one response. How many did we send out?
It was 3, and then I had an email on, I think, to send it out again, so I think a total of 4.
Okay.
From my research and when I was doing the RFP, there's not a lot of occupational therapy services in Rutherford County that do with adults. A lot of times they tend to cater toward children. But since our services are adult-based, those are the ones that I could find that were able to do adult services. The owner of Mind the Gap is here if anybody would like to hear from her regarding their services with us.
So how long has the county used their services?
Oh.
How long? Can you answer that?
Um,
Can
so-
you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kaylin Lawrence. I'm the co-owner of Mind the Gap and an occupational therapist. We've been contracted with the mental health court since 2022. And then I was employed with the county and worked as an OT prior to that, 2018 to 2020, the beginning of 2022.
Thank you.
Michelle, on page 6, if you could reference that page. Okay, is that the cost?
Yes.
Does that look about what we're
Michelle,
doing now?
Do you need some time to take a look at this? and
I
compare
do,
it?
because I have not seen
Recommend
this
we
yet.
take it under advisement.
We have a motion to take it under advisement. Do we have a second? Any further discussion?
I have a question. Who were the 3 that you sent requests to? And I want to know if Adoration is one of them. They're a local company that does occupational therapy. They're located over on Medical Center.
Mind the Gap.
Where are you?
Across the street in the Hoffman Brothers building.
Oh no, I don't have that in my bid book from last month because we sent them out last month and we didn't get the responses.
Carla, can we
Yeah,
get,
once it comes.
can we, when we
I
come
will
back,
have that
can we
Thursday.
have, yeah.
Mhm.
Ms. Riggs, how long will you need to review this bid?
I can be back on Thursday.
Okay, because we're having a special call meeting, and if you can be ready, we will put it on the agenda, because that will be a special call meeting. We will not have any new business. It'll just be defined business for that purpose and a potential other award tonight, so,
Yes, sir.
another opening tonight, excuse me, so, okay?
Okay.
So we will, you can be ready Thursday at 4:30. That would be fantastic.
I will be.
All those in favor of taking it under advisement, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. We'll see you Thursday at 4:30. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Riggs.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Also, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
And if you also could come Thursday, and
Yes.
just in case we ask a question, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Thank you, ma'am. The Venerable Mark Lee is next. He has two bid openings he's going to assist us with tonight. We have the Landfill Road Phase 1 and then the Landfill Road, which is the full depth reclamation project. Mark, for the committee, would you explain the two different... Greg, why don't you come up here as well, since it's the road, if you don't mind, because you're all things road building in this county.
Become my road.
Huh?
When did it become my road?
Well,
I'm asking for a friend.
That's when you got elected.
good answer. All right, good deal. So, Mark, would you explain the two different bids and what they're doing and how they're related and how they're different, please?
Okay, so this is Landfill Road, and the first 600 feet approximately of Landfill Road, which also includes intersection improvements on Jefferson Pike.
That's the one that we questioned whether we could do it or not, right? That's the intersection.
So that is bid as one package, phase 1. And phase 2 is what the highway department is constructing. And in there, there was determined to be some unsuitable material, and it was determined that probably the best way of handling that was to use full depth reclamation, which we had bid the entire road with that before, but it got very expensive and way too expensive. So we broke it apart, and the portion that Mr. Brooks is working on, there are areas, I don't think it's the full length of it, but there are areas that needs some full depth reclamation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Are those the intersections mostly?
No, it's the section that exists where a Republic's right of way, that's something like, it's that. Okay, so for clarity, the first 600 feet, which includes the intersection of Jefferson Pike, that is state right of way, what county highway department cannot work. And then there's the next section that is about 4,000 feet in addition to that, 4,000 additional feet. That's the part we're talking about doing the full depth reclamation on. Beyond that, there's some significant realignment of the existing road, which would make the full depth reclamation, not feasible because we're realigning the road. But where we're staying kind of in the same footprint.
That's where you'll work.
That's where, yes. That's where this full depth reclamation will take place.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Okay, so we received 3 bids in
So we're opening the intersection at 600 feet first, is that
the
correct?
phase 1.
Thanks, Wes, thank you.
Yes.
So, Mr. Hughes is conducting the bid opening for full depth reclamation? Or Greg is? Greg is, okay. And I'm doing it for phase 1.
Perfect.
And we gave, there were 5 companies that picked up plans, and I see 3 have returned over for bids.
Good deal.
Yes. So Hawkins's price is the first one. So they only sent us 2 copies.
What's the price? Are you ready for me to read the numbers?
I am.
Okay. Hopkins' price bid is for the amount of $896,000. I'm sorry, let me restate that. $896,535.00. That's $896,535.00.
Okay, So number 2 is from Jarrett Builders.
You say Jared?
Jarrett, Jarrett.
It's on the sheet that I passed out.
Hawkins local,
Yes. They're Chevrolet, but they're local.
Middle Tennessee.
Yes.
Yeah, between Shelbyville and Burkesboro on 231. More like Unionville, isn't it?
They do a lot of work here.
Yeah.
They do.
Good grief. File that away.
Jarrett Builders bid is for the amount of $1,221,130.00. That is $1,221,130.00.
Moody did not bid, did they
No,
not?
Moody's did not bid.
And so also Wireglass did not bid, did they?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just want to make sure we're not getting
Yes.
confused here.
Okay, and then the third one is from L&G Construction Company.
Do you know where they're from, Mark? They not.
They, Nashville
Thank you.
is what's on here.
L&G Construction, their bid is for the amount of $543,187.00. That's $543,187.00. They are the apparent low bidder. I will evaluate these bids and tabulate them and return with a recommendation to you on Thursday night.
Motion to take these under advisement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you very much. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Is Thursday sufficient time?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
May I
you.
ask a question? Will part of that evaluation of these bids be to vet the contractors, as none of us are familiar with one of these contractors?
If you all would like, we can ask for references, and that would be up to you all, and I would be glad to do that. If we do that, I don't know if we can have them by Thursday night.
Okay, so I would say it would be, I would like you to try to do that and keep the chairman apprised so I can keep the committee apprised. Would that be acceptable to the committee? I do think since we have one vendor we're unfamiliar with, I think it would be appropriate for those references, if at all possible. If not, then we will try to make some sort of accommodation. I don't know what that would be yet, but I'll consult with the committee. Is that acceptable to the committee?
Part of
So
the
we
recommendation would be.
decide in January.
Maybe. I guess what I mean, you're asking me to think on the fly here, and I'd rather not do it, Commissioner, quite honestly. What I do want to do, though, is since we do have an apparent low bidder that we're unfamiliar with, I think we need to do our due diligence, and I think that's what Mr. Brooks is saying, and I would concur with that. I would.
And so when would you like to have that back?
As soon as you can. So if you could make contact with them tomorrow,
Yes.
and then provide that feedback to me so I can communicate with the committee by tomorrow afternoon or Thursday morning, because we're got to meet anyway for the opening. We already told Ms. Ricks that we're going to come back for special, so we're going to come back anyway Thursday. It would just be whether we can accommodate this award or not.
Okay, so let me think out loud. If you would like, I can call them, ask for references, preferably in Rutherford County, but that's not mandatory. And then I can call those references. Would you all, rather than a written, I mean, if you want it that fast where I can get it for Thursday if possible?
Yes, that's acceptable
I
to
can
me.
call and,
But we're only gonna do references on the one we're not familiar with.
right, they're the, parallel bidders, so, and they're significantly lower.
Right.
Is there any objection to getting a verbal confirmation on the references and just bring a report back to the committee? Vice Chairman P? Yeah.
Not with me at all.
I want to hear from the entire committee on this.
No problem.
That'll do.
Okay. Mark,
Especially if there's other counties or cities in the Middle Tennessee area that they've dealt with, we can get good feedback on that.
Would you be interested in county work?
I would,
Okay.
counties or cities.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
larger
Okay.
cities, but counties would be.
municipal or county work would be particularly important if they have it, I would think,
All right,
just because of the process.
yes,
Okay?
all right,
And yeah, if you would do that, Mark, and just let us know, okay?
I'll do that.
Thank you kindly.
And you can look at Google reviews.
Pardon me?
You can look at Google reviews.
There you go.
Yeah. I do that on a lot of things.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Maybe to the last one.
Yes, yes, and I'll have to evaluate that, look at their license. Thank you.
Okay. The next item is the full depth, FDR full depth reclamation. Carla?
Yes.
How many bids did we receive?
We received one bid in from Roadworks Incorporated.
And let me ask, did we send this out to multiple vendors? know
I
we
sent it out to multiple. I'm not sure
Okay.
how many Mr. Brooks sent it out to as well.
All right, thank you. So we received one. All right.
And Roadworks did advise me that they have the check in here for their bond.
Sounds like they're ready to go.
So, I've only gotten one copy of this and then a check, so.
We'll stamp it original and please hand it to Mr. Brooks.
I can hold the check.
Okay. Hold on, let me pass
Who's
that
gonna
back.
hold you?
Can you be trusted this close to Christmas?
I'm gonna put this back in here. Their check instead of the bond.
So this is laid out as a lump sum bid, and it looks like the price is $158,332.00.
158.32?
Correct. Nope, 158,332.
My apologies, thank you.
That's for how many total feet?
I believe that's based on 4,000, if I recall.
Greg, would you like to take a more thorough look at that and then make a recommendation on Thursday?
I'll be happy to.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Take it under advisement.
Sure.
Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of taking an advisement till Thursday, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome.
Very, very much. You want to take that? I'll tell you what, we need to make a copy
Yes.
and get him the
I
copy.
can pick that up tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you like.
That'd be
Okay,
great.
all right.
We'll have it for you in the
Do you
morning.
want me to email it to you?
No, I'll just pick up the
Okay.
paper copy. That's
Okay.
okay.
So we'll have it for you.
And I'll be there.
All right.
All right, thank you, sir.
Any other business? Seeing none, our next meeting is Thursday, December 19th. And if there is no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.